Hello fans of Clash of Clans, it is your host Galadon, and yes, I am super excited to be here today because, well, a couple of things. Today, we are covering the Revenge series trying to get to Legend League, but more importantly, we are going to get in depth on rushing. Yes, we're going to talk in detail about rushing, what rushing is, why you should or should not do it, and I'm actually going to give you some information directly from the developers, from the Clash of Clans team, from an anonymous source inside the Clash of Clans team at Supercell, with some really good information about rushing and not rushing, but so much just about upgrading and about progressing to higher Town Hall levels in an appropriate fashion. I actually learned some new information myself and found it very helpful and useful, and just, I hope you guys enjoy it. Just like I hope you guys use... Okay, that was a terrible segue, right? That was bad. Don't put that on the list of good ones. I hope you use code Galadon. No, yeah, that's weak, man. I gotta come up with something better than that. In fact, I'm not even gonna tell you to use code Galadon because I give back to the community today, because I think that was a weak segue. Get that off the screen. Not even gonna talk about using code Galadon. Let's move on to more Revenges. Okay, so yes, in today's episode, the gameplay is going to be the Revenges. This is Galadon trying to get to Legend League, and we're only doing it with defenses and with revenging players that have attacked my base. Now, of course, nobody is safe. What I mean is you can lose trophies on my base intentionally, and I'm still going to come back and try to triple you in order to get more trophies added to my tally, because we're seeing if it's actually physically possible to get to Legend League with only revenge and defense. So we'll see. Now, of course, I have a fully maxed out base. Most of the players attacking me have far from fully maxed out bases, and that's what makes it easy for, say, Galanoob to actually pick up 3 stars every single flippin' time. So, yes, we'll take a look at some of the replays, some of these attacks throughout the day, but more importantly, I wanted to talk about this whole idea of rushing. Now, if you guys remember, the past few days I've been putting out these thumbnails, and I don't know what got into me. I just thought it'd be funny to put out thumbnails that were all kind of similar, that said just blank it, you know, just do it, like Nike, but they were all different thumbnails, as you can see right here, and we ended up the other day with just rush it, right? Just rush it, I said, and I went into this whole diatribe about how I think that you should rush your lab. And when I say rush, though, it's a little bit of a misnomer, and I want to clarify something, okay? Rushing is different than going to the next town hall before you're fully maxed everywhere. And that's actually also coming from the Supercell team. They believe the same thing. Rushing is bad, okay? And while I may be saying, quote, rushing the lab in these episodes, it's not really rushing, and not seen as rushing by at least one member of the design team, okay? So I'll get into what I'm talking about here. Let's just first tell you that in the Just Rush It episode, I had a ton of comments, a bit of a backlash from players that said they disagreed with me. And I can totally understand you, those of you that come from the completionist standpoint. And what I mean is somebody who just wants to get everything done. I'm not saying that you're OCD. I'm just saying that you want to be thorough, right? You want to get every single upgrade done before you go to the next town hall. And you know what? Hats off to you. That's absolutely awesome. That is great. I'm happy for you. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, because ultimately I do believe, and I strongly believe, that you should play Clash of Clans the way you want, right? You should play the way you enjoy the game. Now, there are certain things that are punitive, meaning, well, I really want Expos, Galadon, so I'm at Town Hall 7. I'm just going to upgrade all my stuff so I can go straight to Town Hall 9 so I can get Expos because I want Expos. Okay, you're going to ruin the game for yourself. You're not going to have fun, and you're probably going to quit as an early Town Hall 9 with level 1 Expos that you got, and was it worth it? Probably not. But barring that, then, you know, or unless you're doing it with the full knowledge of the fact that you'll be rushed and it will be a struggle to catch up, barring that, I think that you should be able to play the way you want to, more or less. So let's just make that first and foremost. I'm not telling you how to play the game. I'm just telling you what I think, you know, my personal opinion. And remember, now, opinions are like butts. Everybody has one and they all stink. So you are free to disagree. But, you know, in the comments, some people got a little bit vitriolic. not gonna lie, including this expository comment that went on and actually accused me of outright lying to viewers, repeatedly lying to viewers, even though I knew the information that I was giving out was false. So, first things first, we are going to address that from that anonymous punk, and I'll let you know that yes, it does take longer to upgrade the lab than all of the heroes, buildings, and walls combined, okay? We can verify this by going to one of my favorite websites, pixelcrux.com, and checking right here. You can see total builder upgrades, that's buildings, walls, and heroes, just about 2.5 years. Total laboratory research, over 4.5 years. So an additional 2 years in the lab than for the builders, and that's assuming you had 6 builders from the beginning. And obviously, most players don't have 6 builders. I would say, you know, a certain percentage obviously have 6, some don't even have 5, but let's just give it the benefit of the doubt. It's still an additional 2 years in the lab than it is at home. Okay, now, why, you ask, would some players say that they think I'm lying and that they've never experienced what I've experienced? And I can tell you, it comes from efficiency. Now, the comment, if you read the comment, the guy actually said that I said that because I'm bad at playing the game. And now I'm not going to try to flex. Okay, it's a little bit of Galaflex right now. Gonna go ahead and admit. It comes from being efficient at the game, okay? Because I play differently than most people play, I see this disparity more than the average player. And the reason is because I keep all of my builders occupied. Okay, I'm not gonna say I'm no-lifing it, but you guys gotta remember that my job is essentially playing Clash of Clans, right? I mean, that's like, if you had to describe what I do for a living, I pretty much play Supercell games for a living. I mean, pretty much Clash of Clans. That's like 90% of what I do. So I'm really efficient with the builders to the point, and a little bit embarrassing to admit, I'll actually admit to you guys, I've set alarms for the middle of the night when I know a builder is coming free at 3:26 a.m. and I want to get the next upgrade going. You know, we don't want to waste the next 5 hours, because I don't wake up till 8:30, of a builder sitting there doing nothing. Now, if you do that repeatedly and you make sure that every single builder is constantly working, you're going to have a union problem on your hands, first of all, because at some point you would think they would revolt because they can't possibly be asked to work 24/7, 365, but that's what we're doing. But no, seriously, at some point you realize that by doing that, I am accelerating. I'm making that disparity, that difference between the builder upgrades and the lab upgrades more significant, right? Because think about it. The average player doesn't know Life Clash. They play for a certain amount of time each day, and their builders sit free. Many players like to play where they always keep one builder permanently free. And the idea being there that they can always do wall upgrades. And I think that's a great idea, but that's not how I play. I play trying to keep every builder tied up at every possible moment of every day. And it's because I've kind of seen this as a race. And perhaps it's different for a player who's not playing through for the first time. We've developed a little additional efficiency because we're good at the game. We've played a lot, despite what that comment said about me being terrible at the game. But yeah, so yes, that's the way I've been playing. And so what I'm doing is I'm making that gap bigger, or at least bigger than the average player would ever see, because like I said, my builders are pretty much busy all the time. Now, I'm also trying to keep the lab occupied all the time, and when a lab upgrade completes, I pretty much try to get up in the middle of the night or whenever it is. I'll also use potions and try to start upgrades so that I know I'll be around. And, you know, being around Clash of Clans all day, every day, does make it easier to do things like that. So, okay, I've kind of covered that part of it, but I wanted to get into this information that I got directly from a Supercell employee, a member of the Clash of Clans dev team, and I thought it was right on. But also remember that this is another opinion. Now, it's an opinion from somebody who helped build the game. So perhaps it should carry a little more weight than the average player's opinion, because this is a verified expert opinion. But here's your definition of rushing: upgrading before you run out of things to do with some of your resources. And to clarify this, what this Supercell employee was saying is that once you've gotten to a point in your town hall where if you continue to raid, a certain resource will overflow because you can't spend any more. Let's just say, for instance, it's Dark Elixir. You've upgraded every Dark Elixir troop, you've upgraded every hero, And now every time you raid, the Dark Elixir just flows over. You can't collect anymore because your storage is full, but you don't want to, quote, rush because you've got some other upgrades to do. This also happens very frequently with players with Elixir. They get full on Elixir, but then there's that tricky part of, well, okay, everything is done. I'm full on Elixir, but the lab still has Elixir upgrades to be done. So that's where it kind of becomes a little bit of a gray area. But to go back, the idea being what this employee was saying was, hey, you know, once you get to the point that if you continue to play and you just are going to be wasting resources that you farmed, that feels kind of bad, right? At that point, maybe you should consider going to the next town hall level and being able to put those resources to work while some other things get caught up makes complete and total sense. In fact, I would say that's common sense, right? If you want to keep playing, you're an avid player, you're raiding a lot, let's go ahead and upgrade. Not like we're going to continue to rush things. We're going to catch up, but at least you'll catch up once you've turned the corner of the new town hall and now suddenly you've got a place to put all of those resources that were otherwise overflowing. Now, this is the information that I learned for the first time, and that was, you know, when you are looking at your drop-down list of builder upgrades and your builders suggest what upgrades should come next, did you know that if you get to the point where you're doing that, where one of those resources is overflowing and is going to be wasted if you continue to raid, the builder will actually, at that point, suggest that you upgrade your town hall. So take a look at that. That's pretty interesting. So what some people would say is, oh man, the game is telling me to rush. And I've actually even seen that myself. And I might have even mentioned that in a previous video. Oh, I can't believe the builder told me to rush. But it's actually because otherwise you would be wasting resources and it makes sense to move up at that point. So there is a big difference in a lot of players' minds as far as what is and what is not rushing. And I thought it would be kind of fun just to explain that a little bit and show that you can rush without rushing. Or you can upgrade to the next town hall level without having everything completely done, and you wouldn't technically be rushing even in the eyes of the dev team of the Clash of Clans game itself, which is super interesting. So to go back to the guy that commented earlier in the video, I stand vindicated that I am correct. It's actually not because I'm bad at the game, it's because I'm good at the game. It has been proven out in the numbers here that you will have to spend more time upgrading your lab than you will your builder upgrades. So I thought that was really interesting and finally just, made me feel better about this problem because I'm running into it now twice. We saw it in No Cash Clash at Town Halls 7, 8, 9, and 10, and now we're seeing it already in Gold Pass Clash, although it's not to as an extreme of a point, and that's probably because of a couple of things. One, the Gold Pass obviously is going to shorten those upgrade times on the lab, but number two, we saw the experience that No Cash Clash had, and we're trying to avoid that by, from the very beginning, using League medals from CWL on research potions. Okay, remember what we talked about. You use them on research potions until your upgrades get beyond 6 days. Then it makes sense to use the hammer of spells, the hammer of troops. And we are saving time now on the No Cash Clash account, but we are saving big amounts of time from the earliest possible point with Gold Pass Clash. We're also realizing that buying research potions are by far the best value in the shop for the gems. I mean, obviously, the training potions that are free are the best. Anything that's free is going to be the best deal. But, yes, 120 gems for a research potion to shave an entire day from your lab, or essentially a day, does make a big difference. And if you pick those up every chance you get, I think you'll get about, I want to say between 6 and 10 of those a month. Also, that's clashofstats.com. They put a cycle of your trader, and you can see that you can buy those pretty frequently, but that is going to shave that time off. And if you think about it, if you're able to buy 7 research potions each month, then you're saving a week every month, or nearly 25% of the time. So if you were to do that, and I didn't cover that in this episode, it actually appears that if you were to focus on research potions and CWL research potions and hammers of troops and spells, hammers of fighting and hammers of spells, you probably could close that gap down to 0. Of course, like I said earlier though, the average player is not necessarily going to see the gap because they're letting their builders sit idly by. They're not working them to the bone like Galadon is. They're giving them a chance. They're reasonable. They're getting 8 hours of sleep. And yeah, so that does make a huge difference also. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about this. I know that I've taken maybe what you could have talked about for a minute and turned it into a nearly 20-minute episode, but I found it interesting, and it's just a mechanic about the game that I was, getting more and more frustrated about, wanted to see exactly what was happening, and finally did a little education, and like I said, luckily had a chance to talk to somebody at the Clash of Clans dev team who clarified for me as well. And, hey, to hear from the Clash of Clans dev team that, hey, you're not rushing when you do that, I was pretty darn happy. So, yes, the just rush it thumbnail and calling it rush it, that might actually be inaccurate. Those technically aren't rushing. Rushing is going to be something that can really reduce the quality of the game for players, right? We've seen that. I mean, look at, all these different YouTubers that have made the whole Fix That Rush series, like Klaus and Clash Bashing and myself. I believe, by the way, you guys, that Klaus, and I did credit him in the first Fix That Rush episode that I ever did, but Klaus from Klaus Gaming is the original inventor of the Fix That Rush series, taking a rushed account and making it viable again, which I think is really cool. Because, unfortunately, a lot of players don't pay attention to the things like the advice from the builder, or you guys also have to remember, there's a lot of people that just don't watch YouTube. Remember, there's so many millions of players that play Clash of Clans, and what population percentage of players actually go to the length of watching YouTube videos? I bet you it's in the single digits. I really do. So those are the enthusiasts, and once you're an enthusiast, you know more about the game than most others do. So you have an advantage already. Just because you kind of dug into the game a little bit more, maybe you're communicating with your clan members, you're not completely casual. What Supercell has been trying to do with, say, the builder advice, how it tells you what you should upgrade next, they're trying to help those casuals not ruin their playing experience. Because, you also have to remember, before Town Hall 12, you could upgrade to the next Town Hall. You didn't even have to build all the buildings. You could totally rush. You could have buildings missing and go to the next Town Hall. And Supercell realized players were ruining their playing experience by doing that, so they prevented that from happening. And that's why you think that might be because they're trying to stop engineering. But that's only a portion of the reason. They also wanted to stop players from ruining the game for themselves. And I think that they definitely have noticed they've put in those practice battles as well, trying to get players to get better at using maybe slightly more advanced tactics, just educating players who never ever even think to go look at some YouTuber's video about how to do something. So, I don't know. I think it was an interesting episode. I hope you guys did as well. Please do leave me your comments down below. Let me know what you think of all of this, if you agree or disagree. And we will wrap it up as the Revenges took us from 3774 all the way to Titan League. That's right, we're on the way. 4,137 trophies. Watch as the series continues. Thank you guys, Galafam, for sticking around all the way to the end of the episode. You are the true Galafam, and I love, think about, and appreciate every single one of you every single day. So stay inside, wash your hands. If you go outside, wear a mask, be kind to other people, animals, and the planet. I'll see you back here again tomorrow for more full attacks. Galadon, is it over? Is it over? I fell asleep about 12 minutes ago.